Hello, dear students. It's my pleasure to welcome you to another episode of our English lessons for the secondary stage. In this lesson, I'm going to address grade 11 students, and we are going to study one of the natural disasters that you have been introduced to in Unit 12 of Module 4. So please, if you want to learn more about this disaster, stay with us, and we'll be back short after this break. Welcome back, dear students. I hope you are interested now and ready to follow this lesson, which is about Unit 12, the power of nature. In Unit 12, you have been introduced to many natural disasters, but today we are going to see another type of natural disasters from Lesson 3, that is from your workbook. So, at the beginning of this unit, you have been introduced to different disasters which are part of what we call the power of nature. Now, the power of nature consists of many environmental phenomena, like, for example, what can you see in this picture? You see many buildings falling apart because of what we call earthquakes. So earthquakes shake the earth and destroy and damage buildings. And we have also, when you have too much rain causes what we call floods, all right? And we also sometimes have what we call storms, that is very thick clouds and a lot of rain. We can also sometimes be influenced by what we call volcanoes, that is when smoke and fire come out from mountains. And sometimes you have the phenomenon of what we call red tides. And we also have what we call wildfires, that is huge fires in forests. And today we are going to talk about tornadoes. So what are tornadoes? They are part of the power of nature, that is, they are one of the natural disasters. So we are going to read the text which describes how a tornado is formed and how it influences its area that it hits. But before that, let's review some of the vocabulary items that you need to know to be able to understand the text fully. Here you have been introduced to these words in previous lessons, like lethal, vortex, moist, spinning, intensity, and storm cellars. And I'm going to give you the definitions for each of these words and a picture to give you a hint on which word I'm talking about. Now here you have a sign of something which is killing, which is dangerous. So it is what? Yes, lethal. Lethal, or something which is sufficient to cause death. Another picture, we have what we call here an underground shelter, which is called what? Yes? A storm cellar. A storm cellar, which is a room below ground level, typically used for hiding in during strong storms such as tornadoes. Okay? So this is a storm cellar. Another word, if you look at the picture here, what does it do? It turns around. So which word best describes it? Excellent. Spinning. Spinning or rotating, revolving, turning around. Another word, if you look at the person here, he is very strong and he is exerting great efforts. So which word comes to your mind when you look at this picture, it is excellent intensity. Intensity, which means strength or power. And the one before last, we have, if you look at the two pictures, on the left, you have a sort of a hole in water, and on the right, you have something turning around. So, turning around, either in water or in the air, we talk about a vortex. Excellent. Vortex is a mass of wind or water spinning rapidly and putting things into the center. And this is what happens when we talk about tornadoes. And the last one, as the background picture illustrates, you have flowers with drops of water on them, which means that they are, yes, they are moist. That is, slightly wet, damp, or humid. So these were the words that you will need to know before we tackle our text. Let's move to the reading comprehension. And here I have a text consisting of 5 paragraphs. This is paragraph 1, which says, please follow with me, tornadoes are violent, rotating columns of air which are in contact with both the ground and a cloud. Tornadoes can be found in a variety of sizes and intensities and have been known to reach speeds of up to 400 km per hour, although speeds of less than 200 km per hour are far more common. They can occur at any time of the year, last between 10 minutes and several hours, and travel anywhere between 3 km and 100 km depending on their strength. So this paragraph gives us some facts about tornadoes, and it also gives a definition at the beginning. They are violent rotating columns of air. Our second paragraph, they can cause damage to nature and property and can sometimes be lethal. Lethal, this was one of the words that we saw at the beginning of this lesson, which means something which is sufficient to cause death. So tornadoes can be lethal. North America and the Caribbean are tornado hotspots, experiencing an average of 1,000 tornadoes every year. They are also frequent in parts of Europe, although European tornadoes are not normally as severe as those in the USA. So the paragraph talks about where tornadoes take place, mainly in the USA, and sometimes less frequently in Europe. Our third paragraph, tornadoes habitually follow thunderstorms. They start when the storm pulls warm, moist air into itself. The warm air moves upwards, but at a certain height, the moisture turns into cold water or rain. This rain starts to fall, producing a mixture of rising warm air and falling cold air. Winds turn this mixture into a spinning tube. In the end, if the end of this tube touches the ground, a tornado is born. So this paragraph describes how a tornado is formed. And I have a picture here which illustrates the process. You have here a thunderstorm. In a thunderstorm we have strong winds and a lot of rain. And when this happens, the warm air goes up and the cold air falls down. So the movement of warm air and cold air falling becomes or takes the form of a spinning tube. And when this tube touches the ground, it is what we call tornado. So in short, tornado happens when the warm air goes up and cold air falls down, and their movement is caused in what we call a spinning tube. We are going also to talk about this later. Our next paragraph is about there are several varieties of tornado, including multiple vortex tornadoes, which have more than one column of spinning air, satellite tornadoes, which are small tornadoes that form around larger ones, and water spouts, which are tornadoes that form above water. So here the paragraph gives us three types of tornadoes. We have the multiple vortex tornadoes and the satellite tornadoes and the water spouts. Which one is very dangerous? Which one is less dangerous? We are going to study it later again. Our next paragraph, although meteorologists can collect information from an increasing amount of sources, such as satellites, radar, weather stations, and weather balloons, it is almost impossible to predict exactly when a tornado is going to occur. Because of this, it is impossible to fully protect people from tornadoes. However, governments do warn people when they think a tornado is likely, educate them about safety procedures during a tornado, and help provide aid and shelter during clean-up operations. They also prepare evacuation plans to get people to safety and build large communal storm cellars in which several hundred people can be shielded from the worst effects of the storm. The paragraph talks about the role of governments in protecting and providing help and assistance to areas which are attacked by tornadoes. All right? So that was our last paragraph of tornadoes. Let's study each paragraph in detail and have questions on each. First, you need to match the paragraphs with their main ideas. Each paragraph has a main idea. These are our 5 paragraphs. Number 1 on the left top corner, number 2 on the right top corner, and number 3 on the bottom left corner, and number 4 on the right bottom corner, and 5 in the middle. And the main ideas are, we have definition and facts, types, main locations, how we can protect ourselves, and how they form. So which paragraph talks about definition and facts? Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5? Excellent. It's number 1. So paragraph 1 defines tornadoes and gives us some general facts about them. Now let's move to paragraph 2. What is the main idea of paragraph 2? Is it types, main locations, how we can protect ourselves, or how they form? So paragraph 2, as you can see, they can cause damage, North America, etc. So it talks about main locations. Excellent. That is the locations of tornadoes. How about paragraph 3, the one at the left bottom corner? It says tornadoes habitually form after thunderstorms. So it talks about, yes, how they form. That is the process a tornado goes through before it occurs. And number 4, there are several varieties, so it talks about, excellent, types. And of course, the last one talks about how we can protect ourselves, or how governments can help us protect ourselves from tornadoes. So this is very important to get the main idea of each paragraph, so that it will be easier for you to go to the paragraph that talks about that idea that you are interested in. Now let's see some more detailed questions. Here you have a table with information for you to fill from the text. Question number 1 asks about places tornadoes can occur. That is, where tornadoes take place in general. And we saw this earlier, and we said yes? So this is the paragraph. It talks about North America and the Caribbean and parts of Europe. These are the main areas where tornadoes take place. So our answer will be everywhere, but especially USA, Caribbean, and parts of Europe. How about types of tornadoes? We talked about 3 types of tornadoes. They are, as you see, here we have 3 pictures, one on the top with many vortex or tubes, spinning tubes, 1, 2, 3, 4 tubes. And here we have a smaller one, and here a larger one. So the first one is what we call, if we go back to the text, it says multiple vortex tornado, that is the one on the top, and then satellite tornado, which is a smaller one with less intensity, and water spouts, which occur in water. So our answer must be multiple vortex tornadoes, satellite tornadoes, and water spouts. Next question, we need to know the lifespan of tornadoes, that is how long they last. If you go to the paragraph, it says last between 10 minutes and several hours. You see, things are not that difficult. You simply need to find the right place to find information in the text. So it says they last between 10 minutes and several hours. And here we have distance tornadoes travel. How far do tornadoes travel? Again, in the text it says travel anywhere between 3 kilometers and 100 kilometers. And your answer must be they can travel anywhere between 3 kilometers and 100 kilometers depending on their strength. And the last question, information collection sites. That is, how do scientists collect information about the weather? They can use, if you go to the text, they collect information from an increasing amount of sources, such as we have satellite, radar, weather stations, weather balloons. So we form our answer like this. Meteorologists can collect information from an increasing amount of sources, such as satellites, radar, weather stations, and weather balloons. These are the main sources that help scientists predict what the weather will be about. Let's move to another question now. This time it says, read the following sentences taken from the text. Choose the appropriate definition for the words in bold or in different font color. North America and the Caribbean are tornado hotspots. So what does the expression hotspots mean? Is it places where tornadoes are likely to be warm, or places where tornadoes are likely to occur, or places which see the biggest tornadoes? What do you think your answer is? Good, excellent. That's 2. That is where tornadoes are likely to occur. Next question of the same type. Here we have, although meteorologists can gather information, we need the term meteorologist. What does it mean? They are all scientists, but do they study the atmosphere, or meteorites and asteroids, or the atmosphere and predict the weather? And on the top you have pictures of meteorites, the first picture on the left, then asteroids. The difference between the two is that meteorites are small pieces of rock that hit the earth, whereas asteroids are large masses of rocks that hit the earth. And in the middle we have a picture of the atmosphere, that is the air and gases surrounding the earth. And the last picture on the right, you have different sources and someone predicting the weather. So meteorologists are, excellent, the last one, that is they study the atmosphere and predict the weather. Excellent. Let's move to another one. Here we have the word lethal in they can cause damage to properties and can sometimes be lethal. What does lethal mean? We saw it at the beginning of our lesson. It's number 2, to cause death. Excellent. Now we have another type of questions. This time you are going to fill in the blanks with appropriate words from the text. The first sentence says, the tornadoes that occur in the USA are more blank than those that occur outside its borders. So what is the intensity of tornadoes that hit the USA? They are severe. Excellent. That is very strong. And the next one, tornadoes are a more blank occurrence after thunderstorms. So which word best fits in this blank? It is frequent. That is frequent occurrence. That is, they happen many times. Another sentence, C, preparing people by teaching appropriate is one of the ways governments protect their citizens. So teaching appropriate what? Teaching people appropriate. In case of a tornado, people should be taught how to keep themselves in a safe place. So we talk about safety procedures. Excellent. And D, scientists blank data from a variety of sources in an attempt to blank when thunderstorms might occur. So what do scientists do with data? They collect, excellent, in an attempt to predict when thunderstorms might occur. And the last one, if a tornado is born above the sea, it is called, now this one is easy, what type of tornadoes take place in water? It is what we call, excellent, water spout. Fine, so far it's so good. Now let's answer these comprehension questions. What are tornadoes? You are asked to define tornadoes, and this, if you remember well, it is mentioned in paragraph 1. Yes, and it says, tornadoes are violent rotating columns of air which are in contact with both the ground and a cloud. You see, all your answers are taken from the text. Another question says, why is it impossible to fully protect people from tornadoes? Scientists are not always or do not always have the possibility to predict tornadoes, so they cannot protect people. So in the text we have, it says, it is almost impossible to predict exactly when a tornado is going to occur because of this. This refers to what? This refers to the whole sentence that precedes this sentence. So because of this, because it is almost impossible to predict exactly, scientists are not or do not have the chance to protect people from tornadoes. So your answer must be something like this. It is impossible to fully protect people from tornadoes because it is almost impossible to predict exactly when a tornado is going to occur. In very simple terms, we cannot protect people because we cannot be exact in predicting when a tornado is going to hit. All right, now we move to the set book questions, that is general questions related to tornadoes and natural disasters. One of these questions could be, which natural disaster do you think is the most devastating and why? That is, which natural disaster is the most dangerous? A possible answer could be, I think volcanoes or earthquakes or tornadoes or floods are the most devastating because when they occur, they cause damage to life. And all these disasters cause damage to life and property and destroy the economic, social, and cultural life of people. Because when one of these natural disasters occurs, it destroys a whole village. So all aspects of its cultural, social aspects are gone. They can even cause drastic change to the environment. Sometimes they even cause change to the climate in general. So they are all dangerous, and you need to choose one of them and talk about it. Our next question says, in your opinion, how can governments help reduce the damage of natural disasters? Our text talks about how governments can help in protecting people and reducing the damage of these natural disasters. So your answer could be either taken from the text or from your own words, and you can say something like this. Governments can teach people safety procedures to follow during disasters. They can build emergency cellars for people to hide in times of trouble. Besides, they can develop more advanced techniques to predict disasters and take precaution measures before the disaster happens. Now that was just a model example. You can come up with your own answer. Okay, now let's move to something different, which is the focus on at the end of your unit. Now this focus on is on Sheikh Sabah Al Ahmed Nature Reserve. Now this is very important because it helps you know about the purpose and why this nature reserve is established. So the main question here is, what is the purpose of Sheikh Sabah Al Ahmed Nature Reserve? And in general, why do countries and governments build nature reserves? Of course, The answer is clear. To protect wildlife, that is, wild animals in general. And also to protect our environment. When you protect wildlife, animals and plants, it means that you protect the environment. And also to protect and restore the natural beauty and wonder of Kuwaiti's ecosystems. It protects Kuwait's ecosystem. And it's also an opportunity to encourage young Kuwaitis to take an interest in environmental issues and to actively participate in the protection and maintenance of Kuwait's natural heritage. I hope this will be an invitation for you to go and visit Sheikh Sabah Al Ahmed Nature Reserve, but you need to get an approval before you go there. Because they are nature reserves, it means that they are not authorized to all people. You need an approved authorization to go there. All right, I hope this was the end of our lesson. I hope you have learned a few things about tornadoes and how they happen and their types and things like that. I hope this lesson was useful to you, and I hope to see you in other episodes. Until then, I wish you good luck and goodbye.